Hello guys, Forristicat here. Today I wanted to put forward my ideas and thoughts given that The Office wrapped up its final season 9. A few days ago, I think 2 or 3 days ago. Overall I think the finale was done very well. Sort of like very hard to do finales in general because you want to sort of touch base with your most important characters and sort of have a good summary or encapsulate the main sort of theme of what the show was trying to portray. And I really think that The Office, if you're a fan of The Office, it's hard not to find this episode emotional and stuff because we've just like with any TV show, you spend like years with these characters and sort of grown along with them. And I found it interesting that this show sort of went sort of meta on itself, saying that like Pam for instance said if it's a gift that this documentary was filmed and I can go and see all the highlights of my life throughout time, and sort of like I said, it's like a meta statement given to us when we watch our TV shows. We're literally like changing and like going on our own personal journeys as we are watching a TV show, and we're like, oh, okay, when that plot twist happened, I remember I was doing this and that. And like I said, many times before, beating a dead horse here, but I really think the best pieces of fandom are the bits of fandom that you can take something away from it and integrate it into your own life. In terms of comedy, of course, you watch a comedy, you want to laugh, and I think that the writers for this finale of The Office sort of did a really good job of making these extreme situations. So basically, this is so many interesting characters in The Office that like I said, comedy has to come from the characters. Like, if you don't have quirky characters, the comedy is just not gonna write itself. And just having Dwight being this sort of like farm guy naturally breeds all these bizarre scenarios. In which case of this finale, the wedding to Angela, and it was good that we got that. I felt like if it ended on like a negative note, everyone would be dissatisfied. But what I was satisfied with the most was the return of Steve Carell. And apparently this is like a sort of like a prank that the TV showrunners did to us, much the same way Jim always pranks with Dwight, in that they released statements from Steve Carell saying that there's no way he's going to return for the series finale because it wouldn't sort of fit into the character or the story arc. And I'm thinking, what the hell, man? And it's like Steve Carell was The Office, and I remember a tweet from Rainn Wilson saying many bad things have happened, but how can we forgive the world for not giving an Emmy to Steve Carell for his portrayal of Michael Gary Scott. And I agree. Like, I think he got a Golden Globe, but you want the Academy Award of TV. Like, you want that Emmy Award, and I reckon that that was sort of robbed from him personally. Nevertheless, just seeing him in the finale was a shock. When Jim said to Dwight, I can't be your best man because it needs to be someone older. Like, it caught me off guard. I'm like, what does it mean? Like, is it going to be like someone else? I really didn't think Steve Carell would show up, and boom, he's there, and he says the token line, that's what she said, and he's in there for a couple of scenes, and I wanted to sort of see more from him, but I read a discussion on Reddit which I sort of agree with now, is that he went in there, he did a couple of one-liners, and then he went back out, and so basically I enjoyed the Office finale. I think that it sort of wrapped up most things, and it gave the fans what they wanted, and I think that that basically the full 9 years, that it was obvious to see where the creativity sort of like stuffed up a little bit. Like obviously they were trying to get Jim into new interesting situations, so they moved him off to this athlete or whatever in Philadelphia or whatever, but none of the things there were really interesting. And obviously they were trying to do something with Daryl as well, making him go there with Jim, but none of it really worked out, and none of it was really funny. I think that the last sort of really funny moments was with Robert California, and like his mother, whatever, with those Dalmatian dogs. It's just such a ridiculous sort of exaggeration of your southern people of America or whatever. It's just it just was really hilarious. And what's his name, James Spader, I think. He really did the character justice. So I don't really have that much else to say, except the pre-documentary beforehand was very good, sort of, and I really think that John Krasinski said it well, that people that do work in the office or work in sort of boring, mundane jobs could really connect to these characters because they see themselves as, as one of these people in the office on the TV show, or they know someone, like that person in real life. And I thought, yep, he's reading my mind. This is what I think made The Office good, given that, there were some sort of, creative dry spells in there. I think overall, The Office was a good show. The first couple of seasons, of course, were hilarious, and they did a lot of flashbacks in the episode, with the celebrity heads, like trying to be Jewish, or like I remember like Pam had like a sign saying Asian, and then she's like, okay, not to be rude, but if I was to stereotype you, I might say that you cannot drive. And then Dwight's like, oh my god, am I a woman? Yeah, that's very, very funny stuff. So The Office came to a close. I think that it needed to. They really pushed the I'm pretty surprised now. I look back on like how much sort of creative situations they did put in there, but overall, I mean, you can't go on forever. So I think it stopped at a good time. It was cool to see Steve Carell in there, and there were actually a lot of motivational. There's a lot of like motivational feel good quotes in this episode, which is pretty good. And the pre-documentary guy said something like, I think that having a show which is sort of like emotional at times is interesting, because you don't know sort of when the humor is going to come. And I think a lot of times in the series, you've had like a very sort of touching, heartfelt moment or something like that, when someone's crying, and then you're like, oh wow, they're going for like a deep and meaningful scene here. And then like, Dwight will say something like, oh, you obviously have PMS or something, in an example when like, Pam is crying. And that sort of humor that's where the humor comes from. Like I said in another short video of mine, like that's where the humor comes from, is your brain is thinking one thing, and then you've got an elastic snapback effect when your reality is shattered, and of course breaking through that frame, your mind goes what the hell, and it's confused, and it compensates for that with laughter. Very scientific view, I know, but I'm sort of interested in that sort of thing. Anyway, I think that the quotes were fantastic from Andy Bernard, paraphrasing, and I wish there was a way to sort of see the good old days before they're gone or something like that. Like that's great. And of course, the ending quote, there's beauty in sort of like simple things, but that's sort of the point of it. And of course, Pam's speech, regarding like women, and like how if someone watches this, and it's like I said, it just became very meta. So in Pam talking to the documentary, she's in fact talking to us, the audience. And Jim did that as well. When he said best prank ever. Of course, with all these statements that Steve Carell was not going to return for the series finale. Overall, I mean, The Office pretty good comedy. There are moments there which are hilarious. Probably my favorite moment of The Office was when I think they did like a dancing number to begin the season, or actually they showed a little bit of in this episode, I think, where there's like a fire alarm or something, and like Oscar like goes up to the ceiling, and like Angela has to save her cat, and like she throws up the cat, and the cat like falls out somewhere else. Good special effects, and very, very amusing and funny. But overall, I liked The Office. I'm going to be sad to see it go. It sort of waned a little bit towards the end there, but once again we have a scenario that it did so much well in its early seasons that you can't really sort of detract from it, even though it's sort of like stuffed up a little bit creatively with the juices stopped flowing a little bit. But nevertheless, I think it's got some messages in there. I think it was funny overall. I think they wrapped up everything nicely. Jim, Pam, getting married, that was great, because normally I'm not into sort of romantic storylines, but this one, like, I actually cared about it a little bit. And of course, Dwight and Angela, and Kevin and Toby and Creed getting arrested, all this other great stuff. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Overall, pretty impressed with the Office finale. They did it well. They did their fan service, which any TV shows should do for their audiences. Respect them and give them what they want and expect within reason. And goodbye The Office. Thank you for making me laugh and look at my work a little bit differently. And to appreciate the simple things in life, much like this video. Okay, thank you. Nothing else to say. I will see you later.